Here we go.
Welcome to the MBG podcast. Let's fire everybody.
All right, welcome everybody. Episode number 106, the Message Board Geniuses podcast. This is Who's. I got Casey, Courtney, MBG. Casey, I think we had that go off without a hitch for the first time ever doing a live show, so that's a good start.
I was holding in my screams. I am so excited that it worked.
It took us,
no
I think, 5 shows, but we got it down now. So we don't have a guest this week, so we thought we'd do a live show. But before we get started, MBG, how was Vegas, man?
I mean, Vegas was Vegas. Not my favorite trip in the world, especially when you get thumped by Colorado State on the second night. But all in all, we still made the tournament, so that works. But I got 7 games in 3 days. So if you like basketball, it's a fun trip. I recommend everybody go to a conference tournament at some point in their lives. It's fun.
Did you make
even
enough
if you don't
money
win
for all of us to get raises?
No, it's like we're gonna keep grinding away, guys. You're gonna have to earn those raises on merit alone.
Well, you saw what I did tonight with the Open, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
It's good stuff, Casey. All right, so the NCAA tourney has obviously officially started. There's a game going on right now. I've got 2 playing games tonight. I think 2 more tomorrow night. And the first round games come up in a couple of days. So we thought we'd kick things off by talking about which games we're most looking forward to in the first round. And I'll let y'all start because I'm the only one of the 4 of us whose team is not in the tournament.
Alabama,
so
maybe?
who wants to volunteer?
Go ahead, Courtney.
I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to the Bama game, but I'm also a really big Alabama State fan right now. Keeping it in state, figured I would root for them. But, I mean, obvious reasons why.
You know who they're playing next, right?
No. I did fill out my bracket, but I don't remember.
Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
The team on
That's
the Plains.
why I thought you were picking them.
No. Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
That's what I thought you were leading up to.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I knew that. The fact that Yale is in their region is just like amazing. So maybe I don't want them to lose this one. Maybe I want them to end up playing Yale and then lose to Yale again. Because that would be fantastic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I personally would enjoy that quite a bit. And I might even post about it a couple times on Twitter if it happens.
Thank you.
Well, to be fair, Auburn kind of got a bit of a rough deal because Louisville got screwed as an 8 seed. And that would be, I mean, obviously, if Louisville could beat Creighton, Auburn would have to play them in the second game. I don't know how Louisville ended up as an 8 seed. But if Auburn is the number 1 seed overall, it doesn't quite seem fair that they have to draw Louisville in the second game. So if you're asking what games I look forward to, that'd be one I look forward to is Louisville, Creighton at an 8-9. That's a tough one.
That's 100% was going to be my number 1 pick.
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
Casey.
it's funny. That was mine too. Because I think it's going to give us an idea of how this tournament's going to go for the ACC, for one thing. Because the idea that an ACC team with 2 conference losses got an 8 seed is crazy. And so, but if Louisville loses that one, I think it's going to be a rough showing for the conference probably. And I think that's probably the most exciting game in the first round anyway.
Yeah, the Kansas-Arkansas game also. Only because you got Calipari and Self, and then the winner's going to play Patino.
Yep.
That's an interesting part of the bracket as well.
Yeah, I like the BYU VCU matchup. That
Dang
could
it.
be a good one.
That was my
And
number 2, Casey.
The thing that I'm looking forward to, and people aren't going to like this on Twitter, but the thing I'm most looking forward to is how many SEC teams are out after the first weekend, because, all we heard on Sunday was how many they got in. But looking at some of these matchups, I think like Kansas, Arkansas, that's going to be a heck of a game. Drake is like everyone's dandy this year, right? They're the ones that are going to beat Missouri. Then the way North Carolina's shooting it tonight, are they going to beat Ole Miss? I mean, you just go down the list, and outside of maybe the Florida, the Alabama, and Auburn, how many SEC teams are going to be left after the first weekend? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and the other reason I want to see BYU VCU is if the rumors are true, Ryan Odom is going to be our next coach, and he's not built. He's only been there a year, but he's got a pretty good squad at VCU. So I'm kind of torn because I like watching them play, but I also wouldn't mind them losing early so we can go ahead and get this coaching thing wrapped up. So that's the game I'm going to be probably most interested in.
I'll give you one more to watch. I think is going to be good is Michigan and UC San Diego. I know if you look at the front of the jersey and it says UC San Diego, you're going to scoff a little bit, but that is a good team. They won 30 games. They're good.
Isn't that the coach that was at a D2 school and he brought everybody with him?
Mm-hmm.
Am I thinking of the correct guy?
I think so. But they went into Logan at Utah State. Utah State was 10-0, and they thumped us. And that's not easy that doesn't happen very often. They're really good.
The Tritons.
Michigan's good as well, but UC San Diego, like I say, they're probably better than a 12 seed. It's tough to see you in 30 games and you're a 12 seed. So I would keep an eye on that one.
And Casey, how are we not talking about your game? I think that's one of the most interesting matchups in the first round. Yeah,
I didn't know Clemson plays. What's funny is that they're playing Will Wade, who is a very polarizing figure in the college basketball world. But
I mean, if you're the FBI,
he's a Clemson alum, so he's playing Clemson. They have one of our former point guards as their top assistant, Vernon Hamilton, as well. And then the rumors that Brad Brownell was going to take the Indiana job. All the Clemson people, at least on Twitter, were like, that's fine. We'll just take Will Wade after he either loses or beats us. But Indiana hired a different coach, so it's not going to happen. But yeah, it should be interesting.
How are you feeling about that game? Because I know a lot of people have picked it's McNeese, right? Isn't that who y'all are playing?
Yeah, McNeese. Yeah, and it's the 5-12. And I think it's the only 5-12 that I didn't pick the 12 in my brackets, but I'm notoriously bad. It's a contrast to styles, I think. And I always dig a little deeper into the opponents that we play, thinking that Clemson's no good, and I find ways to figure out how Clemson's going to lose. But I don't know if they can bang. A story that is not going to – I can't speak tonight, and I apologize. But the story that's not going to be told is that we had our starting point guard, even though Chase Hunter gets all the love. His brother, Dylan, broke his hand in the ACC semifinal. So he being out, a starter being out, it does hurt. So we'll see. I think they're going to win, but I don't know how long this run is going to be this year.
Did y'all see – it was on Twitter – and where a guy named Robert Morris got arrested.
As well, he should have.
So that's who we're playing. So it was just really funny. It was going around.
You guys are playing Bob, huh?
Yeah.
Old Bob Morris.
One of my favorite things, Riley was like, what? Hold on. I don't know what it says. What playing Alabama in the tournament makes a man want to do? So that was pretty funny.
Well, my money's on Bob there.
Shit.
So he gets short into Bob, but Jimmer.
I will actually take that toaster bath that I keep threatening.
Good stuff.
All right, so I have a feeling we're going to be talking about the tournament a lot in the in the coming weeks. So that's good because after football season, the intro is a little bit tougher, but we got some built-in content here coming up. And that also applies to our next little segment here. We thought we'd do another draft this week. It's always fun during the live shows. So a few weeks ago, we did a 4-round draft of our favorite college point guards from the 2000s. And I know MBG was not happy about this. I came in first. So my selection of Jay Williams, James Fredette, Trey Burke, and Ty Jerome got 39% of the vote. Courtney came in second with 30%. MBG in third with 17%. And Casey came in fourth with 14%. So it was a pretty close.
Hey, double digits.
Yeah, and your first pick wasn't even a point guard, so that's pretty good.
Look at me go! I didn't even know what I was doing.
I know.
Thanks, Brock.
Right? So
I knew the whole time. I was just fucking with you guys. That does not apply to tonight, though.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's the same thing you said last time, right? So we're staying with the similar theme with the tournament started. We were initially going to do a 4-round draft of our favorite Cinderella teams from the NCAA tournament. We've been convinced to move it to 3 rounds because
You say bullied us?
someone we got bullied into changing it to 3 rounds by Courtney.
Courtney can only
So
go 3
once-
rounds tonight.
Yeah. So once again, we're going to use the random number generator to figure out the draft order. Y'all ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right. Pick 1. Oh, Courtney, you got the first pick.
Oh,
So
boom.
you're off to a good start.
Yay.
Pick 2, MBG. Pick 3 is Casey. And I've got pick 4. So
Let's see who Chat GPT told Courtney to pick.
I actually
It's got- if
remember
it's
this
not-
one. So this
yeah,
is
if
the
it's
one I'm
not
going
one
to
of
go
the
with
2 I'm
first.
thinking of, we'll see. Well, it's taking her off the rails, so we'll see here.
Well, I'm going to go with 2022 St. Peter's, the Peacocks.
Peacocks.
Yeah,
Nice.
I remember that one.
You know anything about them?
I did no. The rule is you're not supposed to ask me questions, Casey. You're not playing by the
15
rules.
First 15 seed to make an Elite 8.
You know where they're from?
Did you
Please
not
say
hear what I said? No questions, Casey.
I'm sorry. I'm done. I'll mute this part.
You know that my face is like right up to the screen too.
I could
You
tell.
know that.
They did beat Kentucky, Courtney, in that tournament. That was their first
You
round
did, I do
game.
remember
Was
that.
2 seed Kentucky. So yeah, that was a crazy run. That was probably the most unlikely Elite 8 team ever, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was a where are they now kind of thing going on with out of NJ.com, which is New Jersey's newspaper online. That's where St. Peter's is. But the little guard with the mustache that was hitting all the threes is apparently an assistant head coach at a high school basketball
I saw that. Yeah.
organization.
Oh wow.
And he's like an assistant principal too, isn't he? It was whatever. It's his picture they had in that. I don't know if it was in like an article or just a post on Twitter, but he looked exactly like an assistant principal. So it was perfect. All right, MBG. That was a surprise pick to me, going number 1, but maybe it's because I'm old. What do you have at
Agreed.
number 2 here?
Me? I'm going to
Yep.
pick my favorite one, which some of us old timers would probably agree. But mine was 1990 Loyola Marymount
Oh yeah.
with Hank
Bo Kimball.
Gathers, Bo Kimball, a kid named Jeff Peabody. They were an 11 seed and made it to the Elite 8. But I think they beat New Mexico State, Alabama, and Michigan. And they were averaging 122 points a game. I don't know if you guys ever watched them.
Oh yeah.
But they would press the entire game, and they would jack up the first 3 that they saw when they got the ball, and they would just hockey sub guys in and out, and they were fun to watch, and they would just wear teams down with that full court press. And like
That
I
was
said,
Paul Westhead, right? Wasn't he the coach of that team?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, Paul Westhead. I
That-
think he tried that
is the-
gimmick in the NBA a little bit.
Yep, he's the anti-Tony Bennett. They just ran up and down the floor and tried to outscore you. And the crazy thing, I don't know if you remember this, one of those games in the tournament, they won like 62-60 or something like that. It was like by far their lowest scoring game of the season. I can't remember who they played.
I don't either, but I think either the one before or the one after they scored 149.
Yep, they scored 149 and then 62, like in back-to-back games.
Yeah, that was the definition of volume shooting. The NBA is kind of going that route. College is kind of going that route, but nothing like what Loyola Marymount used to do in terms of shooting three-pointers. They were fun to watch, and that was a good run.
MBG,
Emily Taylor asked us in 1990. Is that what MBG said? And then,
Listen,
look, Emily, I'm just going based off what my dad told me. These are just stories that my dad told me about.
Yeah, some of mine predate that. So 1990 is not even close to my earliest one.
I will say I saw Loyola Marymount in person, that team in person in Salt Lake. They played in the tournament against Wyoming and North Carolina.
you must have
awesome.
been young.
Yeah. I was just a baby, though.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive either, Emily.
That makes one of us.
You were.
I know. I just wanted to lie.
I had to do the math in my head. I was legal to drink already, so I was definitely alive. All right, Casey.
I was in kindergarten.
All right, the picks you've all been waiting for. 2018, Loyola Chicago, the 11 seed. Sister Jean became a household name. They ran all the way to what? The Sweets Final Four. They were in the Final Four. It's a heck of a team. 2018 was tremendous.
All right, so y'all are really – I thought these would be the first two picks off the board, and this is making me realize that I'm just old as hell. So I have two picks here. For one, I'm going with 85 Villanova. That team was an 8 seed, I think, and they beat a ridiculous Georgetown team in the final. So they won the whole thing. And MBG, you might remember this, but that guy, remember Harold Jensen? He's the most unathletic looking guy on that team, shot like 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 from the field, I think, in that championship game against Georgetown. And then for my wraparound, I'm just going all old school. 83 NC State, 6 seed, Jim Valvano. They won on that ridiculous, last second, basically air ball and then dunk. And that team was ridiculous because they knocked off to win the tournament that year. They knocked off Virginia, who was a 1 seed with Ralph Sampson, and then knocked off Akeem Olajuwon in the final. And I think that Houston team wasn't Drexler on that team too.
Yeah,
it was,
and Olajuwon. Yeah,
the 5 slam jam.
Yeah, that team was insane. I think it was Lorenzo Charles. I think that was the guy who had the dunk at the end. But yeah, those two were formative for me as far as my love of the tournament. Those two games and the 82 Georgetown North Carolina final. All three of those were just insane games.
Were they in
right.
4K HD?
Yeah,
that's when you had to go turn the dial on the TV with your hand. Casey.
That's exactly to one of the 3 channels that we had. That's exactly right.
We were bougie. We had one of those big, like, fat remotes that connected to the TV, so you could only get it so far. So you had to strategically place your couch so that you could bring the remote to the couch. It was great.
I'm pretty sure for the 82 game, we had rabbit ears on the TV that you had to adjust. So it was old school.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel old as fuck now. So good times. All right, Casey.
As you should.
You may sense a theme with my picks, but 2018, Buffalo, a 13 seed, upset number 4 seed Arizona. They didn't go very far, but it's always nice to see a double-digit seed win. And side note, I picked Arizona for the Final Four that year.
That one was not on my board, Casey. Good work. That was the Juan Dixon pick of your Cinderella teams.
There's a method to my madness, but
All
Evan
right.
Grimes didn't like it. He didn't like it.
Bad pick,
He
Casey.
said last time he was like, "Great pick, Casey. Bad pick, Casey." He's like shaming you now.
Just fun.
All right, MBG. I'm hoping you have another old school pick to make me feel better here.
Wait, is it my turn? I thought it was Courtney's turn.
It is,
My
yeah.
turn?
Yep.
Well, I don't know how this is going to make you feel, Who's, but I'm going to go with the 2006 George Mason Patriots. They
That's a great
were an 11 seed. They were really the first. I don't know if they were the first double-digit seed to make the Final Four, but I think that's accurate.
They were the second. They were the
Second.
second. 86 LSU, I think, was an 11 seed.
That's right. But they beat Michigan State, North Carolina, Wichita State, and UConn to make the Final Four, and that's when they lost to Florida. Jim Larinaga was the coach, who before he went on to Miami. So that was really one of the first big underdogs that I remember seeing making a deep run into the tournament. Was George Mason. So I'll go with them.
Emily just destroyed me in the comments, by the way. Just wanted to
Here it is. Here it is.
point that out.
I loved it.
All right, Courtney, your second and third picks here.
Okay. I'm going to go with 2008 Davidson.
Oh, how did I know that was coming?
I do know that Steph Curry was on the team.
That's how I knew it was coming.
Yeah. Don't ask me shit else.
All right, you got one more.
Do you know where Davidson is?
Fuck
Sorry,
off,
it's
Casey.
the.
2011 Butler.
Oh, that's a good one.
Name
Really good.
2 players for Butler Bulldogs. One player. One
Sorry,
player.
your internet broke up.
Brad Stevens was the coach.
I think you said that was a good pick, but
It was a great pick.
yeah.
It was. Did they make the championship game back-to-back
did.
years?
I did.
That
I
seems
didn't know that.
insane, doesn't it?
Did they go back
Yeah,
to back
that's
years?
crazy.
I knew they went. They definitely went and beat because they beat VCU in the Final Four. That VCU team that may or
I
may
think
not
they
still
did
be
in
available.
2010 as well, unless I'm just making that up.
I know they had a run. Probably not.
I could have done some research before the show, but
No,
that's not really
we
our
don't do
style.
that.
All right, MBG, your last pick here.
Oh, it is?
Yep, we're going
Well,
3 rounds.
I'm going to go with what was one of the funner runs by a Cinderella, which was the 2013 Florida Gulf Coast Eagles, Dunk City.
Dunk
Oh, yeah.
City.
Yep.
They were fun to watch, and I think they had that coach. What was his name? He went to USC. He
He's
was
at,
married
yes,
to a
Andy Enfield. He's at
and so
SMU.
married
now.
to him. Yeah, he was married to a model. I think he was independently wealthy before he even started coaching there. Was just kind of doing it for fun. Took him on that run. That was fun. They were a fun team to watch.
Their first year of existence was 2012, and they were saying like, "Oh, they're going to get an influx of alumni money," but they didn't have any alumni.
Just from the previous class, right?
Crazy story. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first 15 seed to make the Sweet 16, I think.
Yep. They were fun to watch. I think they'd be Georgetown, right? Who was the 2 seed? And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they beat San Diego State second round. So yeah,
Lost to Florida.
fun team.
Yeah, they were. All right, Casey, it's your last pick here.
All right. Keeping with the theme, 2018 UMBC. They beat the number 1 overall seed. I forget who it was, but they won by like 20. They were a 16 seed, and they beat the number 1 overall seed.
Wait, was that the first time that had ever happened?
It was.
Oh man.
I
All right.
don't need
Who's
to
got the next
litigate.
pick? Who's got the next pick?
I would have thought that had happened before then.
Hey, Casey,
Oh.
what was the head coach's daughter's name?
Daphne Odom.
You lying.
Yeah, you don't know if I am or not.
Okay, I'm
I
pretty
just
sure
felt
I've
like I had
said-
to ask you a question since you were interrogating
Oh.
me.
I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on the show before, but during that UMBC game, in my text group with my college buddies, there were over 700 text messages during that game, and the range of emotions from the opening tip until the end was something that I could literally probably write a book about, and I have them saved just in case I ever want to do anything with them.
Wasn't it? It wasn't even close, right?
No, I mean it wasn't. We got down early, and the thing that some people forget is we won it all the next year. But in the first round, we played like Winthrop or somebody, and we were down 14 in the first half against a 16 seed again. And I was like having a heart attack. And then we came back and won that game, and then obviously went on a run. But it looked like it was happening 2 years in a row at that point. All right, so Casey, thank you for that trauma before I make my last pick here. So I'm going to stay in the Commonwealth. I'm going to go with 2011 VCU. They were an 11 seed. They were an at-large bid, so they didn't win their conference tournament. Got an at-large as an 11. They were in the first four. I think they were the first team in the first four to ever make the Final Four. I think that's right. But that was when Shaka Smart was their coach. And it's not even like they were winning close games. I think they won 5 games by double digits. I remember they won their first 3 all by like 13 or 15 or something like that. So for people in the state of Virginia, that one was pretty fun.
Absolutely. Shaka Smart, another Clemson person.
Yeah, apparently we were trying to get him to replace Bennett, but I don't think he's going anywhere. So he's a really good coach.
Wifey wants to stay in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Emily just said I finally picked a team from when she was alive. So good for me.
Yay.
Casey, I just want to thank you. I usually try and keep my energy up, but that just knocked the wind totally out of me before I move on to the next
I thought
segment.
I thought you had me when I was doing 2018. That's what was my goal. You know,
I know. I was trying to block it out. I thought that might be what you were doing, but I didn't.
Pregnant pauses in there and everything. Like I was, 20.
All right. Well, that brings us to our next segment, Genius of the Week. As always, each of us is going to nominate player, coach, team, conference, someone who did something particularly dumb in the last couple of weeks. We'll put it to a Twitter vote and see who wins. Did y'all check out our last vote? It was a landslide.
Yep.
So Casey's nominee, Courtney, won in dominating fashion with 84% of the vote. I think that might be a record.
You know what? That B word deserved it.
That's fair. I mean, there's never been a more deserving Genius of the Week.
Exactly.
I could not agree more.
How was the concert? I mean, that's what people were asking me in my DMs.
Somebody said the other day, I don't know who it was on Twitter, said something about, oh yeah, well, I'm blocked by Luke Bryan. And I was like, I'm so jealous.
Well, this is how dominating that win was. So MBG's nominee, D'Angelo Covington, came in second with 9%, which means my nominee, Stefan Collar, who got bit in the testicle by a child, only got 7% of the vote. So that's just how dominating the Courtney pick was this week.
What can I say?
All right, so I'm in the lead with 42 wins. Casey now has 21. Courtney has 8. MBG has 1. Casey, you want to kick it off?
Sure. This week, my Genius of the Week is Michigan baseball player Mitch Voigt. I hope you all saw this. I thought it was great, but understand the uproar. The incident happened in the bottom of the second inning of Sunday's game against Southern California in Ann Arbor. And Voigt hit a 3-run triple to center field. He slid headfirst into third base. And then in celebration, he put his face on the ground and ran it along the third base chalk line. It was a passionate and original celebration, that's for sure. But taking your nose to the ground to act like you're having some fun with some booger sugar isn't exactly the image Michigan baseball program or university as a whole was probably wanting to portray. Of course, Voigt issued an apology on Monday morning for the celebration. Not only was his apology expected, but also, did you see how he did it? Via
It
a
was amazing.
screenshot from the Notes app. I mean, that is just awesome.
Like-
So, go ahead.
Didn't even clip it. Just screenshot
No.
the whole thing and posted
No
it.
battery. It took him a long time. It took him half 3/4 of his battery life to I don't know. So for that unique but regrettable decision, Mitch Voigt is my genius of the week.
I just want to
Video
say,
was-
I thought it was awesome. Like,
It was so good.
I didn't think he needed to apologize. And to
No.
me, the way he just screenshotted that Notes app and was like, here you go, there it is. They made him do that.
Oh, there's no
100%.
question.
1,000%.
I got kicked out of a state semifinal game. I think I've told the story before on this show when I was the site manager at the high school that I worked at. And I had a meeting with the athletic director the next day. So I'm sure he had a meeting with the athletics.
Oh, yes.
I honestly thought you were about to tell a cocaine story, Casey. I got all
No,
excited. It's
I'm
like I was
boring.
all hopped up on
Booze.
blow and got kicked out of the arena.
Who's would have one for us, though?
I was like, oh, this is gonna be good.
So good.
No, such a disappointing, like most of my stories.
All right, Courtney, who are you going with?
Okay. Well, you guys know I'm going to have to go with our good friend and Snapchat super user, Carson Beck. And I mean, we all know that he is no stranger to sending ladies Snapchats, but this time he did it while he was on a trip with his girlfriend, his influencer basketball girlfriend. He snapped the girl and told her that they broke up, and clearly they had not because they were on a trip together. I think they were in Nashville. And the girlfriend's twin sister ended up posting a TikTok about how you should always listen when your sister tells you that they have a gut feeling about someone. But honestly, I can't even imagine letting a man that looks like Sid the Sloth try to ruin my life. Like, come on. He is so below her. He is one of the ugliest humans ever. But anyway,
Courtney, maybe he's really nice though.
Yeah,
I don't
he's got a
give
great
shit.
personality. Right.
Fuck a personality.
And a Lamborghini.
I don't give a shit about his Lamborghini either. See that
Courtney.
face?
Some of us rely on our personalities very, very much.
I
There's
do.
a reason
for
there's
sure.
no faces here on
My
this show.
sparkling personality.
We'd be on YouTube otherwise.
So for transferring to a school for a girl just to fuck it all up, Carson Beck is my genius of the week. But also, he should capitalize on this and have Snapchat like give him an NIL deal at this point.
Ooh, that would
No
be
question.
good. Yeah.
That's good business.
Absolutely.
Seems
He's
like
been a
it'd be
nominee.
really hard to get away with that stuff when you're that high profile and you're on posting the stuff on Snapchat. It seems a little tough.
This is a good question that Emily asked, though. Can great
What's that?
personality and suspicious Snapchat user be used in the same conversation?
How old is Carson Beck?
36, I think.
I know. I wanted to, when I was looking at what I wanted to say, I was like, I can't make the old joke because that went out with Stetson Bennett. Because I was like, isn't he fucking too old to be sending that kind of shit on Snapchat?
Probably not.
Isn't that like what teenagers do? I
It
don't know.
might work, though. That's the problem. Oh,
Mm.
all
I
right.
mean,
It
Good
really
thought.
didn't work that well for him. All of the times he did it, they got posted. So maybe he would learn his lesson, but he didn't,
Yeah.
obviously.
all right, MBG. Who you got this week?
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go down under this week, down to Australia. You guys know where Lilydale is?
Oh,
It's my favorite
no
place.
idea. No idea.
It's near Melbourne. You know where Melbourne is?
In Australia.
Good call, Casey.
Woo.
Good
I
call.
was worried. I guess.
So my girl, Joanna Kathleen Klinman, lives in Lilydale. And apparently she appeared this week in Ringwood Magistrates Court on Monday to plead guilty to a single charge of offensive conduct involving human remains.
Ooh,
Yeah.
getting dark.
Well, you just wait. The court heard Kinman worked as a ranger at an animal shelter where her job involved after-hours collection of stray and seized animals. Leading Senior Constable Melissa Sambrook said that on February 19th last year, 2 dogs that had partially consumed the toes after their owner had died from natural causes were seized and taken for an assessment. While at the facility where Kinman worked, the dogs became ill and vomited up the remains. Sambrook said shelter staff cleaned up the vomit and placed it and the remains, which included 2 human toes, in a general waste bin. When a distressed staff member left work early, Kinman remained behind to lock up, taking the opportunity to search the wheelie bins. She located 2 human toes and took them home and placed them in a jar containing formaldehyde. The following day, Kinman called her daughter and told her about the toes, saying she had researched selling them on the internet and believed she could get $400 for them. When police arrived and asked if she had the remains, the court heard Kinman pointed to a glass shelf behind her where the toes were suspended in a clear liquid. The jar was positioned among other oddity items, including guinea pig trotter, an alligator claw, a bird skull, and baby teeth belonging to the accused's children. The court heard further inquiries found Kinman was a member of Bone Buddies Australia, an online group for skull and bone enthusiasts to swap and sell specimens or share their finds with others. So for trying to sell 2 human toes that she got out of a dog's stomach, my girl, Joanna Kathleen Kinman, is my genius of the week.
I shit you not when I say this. Like, I have chill bumps. That was weird as shit.
I was
What?
I was just thinking that's not at all what I would think Bone Buddies would be. I would think
That's not what I call them.
right.
And I was trying to think of a DJ Uyunglele joke in there, but I didn't even have that.
I invite you all to just go home and Google Bone Buddies.
No.
No,
Hell no.
That'll mess with your algo.
You. I'm going to end up
I'm
on some
seeing
watch
if-
list.
I am seeing if bonebuddies.com is available or not. Give me a
Oh God, could you imagine?
Oh, it's out there. All right. Just FYI.
Bone Buddies.
Yep. All right. So I told you guys I was struggling a little bit this week. I just kind of ran out of time here. So my the week is not great, but it's amusing to me at least. So mine is West Virginia head football coach Rich Rodriguez. Back in December, Rodriguez was announced as the new head coach at West Virginia, replacing Neil Brown. This is Rodriguez's second stint at West Virginia. And last week, he began putting his personal stamp on the program by announcing that he has banned players from dancing on TikTok. And I didn't see much about this. It just popped up on my timeline the other day. So in turning Morgantown into a modern-day Footloose, Rodriguez delivered a couple of what I consider all-time quotes. The first one is, "Look, we have to have a hard edge, and you're in there in your tights dancing on TikTok. How about let's win the football game and not worry about winning the TikTok?" That one kills me only because when people put "the" in front of a social media site, it just means they're old. Right? So, all the damn kids on the TikTok. And the second one was, this is again a direct quote, 20 years from now, if they want to be sitting in their pajamas in the basement, eating Cheetos and watching TikTok or whatever the hell, they can go at it. Smoking cannabis, whatever. Knock yourself out. So for being the angry old man sitting on the porch yelling at the football players to get off his yard, Rich Rodriguez is my genius of the week.
He really sounds to me like a guy who gets the young kids.
He does.
He's really going to relate well to those kids, I think.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I think they're going to respond to it.
I'm going to be honest. When we lost to, I guess it was Vanderbilt was our first loss. And I'm like, these fucking kids weren't worried about their TikToks. And then I was like, God, I sound so fucking old. God.
Well, the thing that killed me is they're allowed to be on TikTok. they're just not allowed to dance. Which I
There's
think
no
is,
allowed to dance on TikTok.
yeah, that's literally that's the rule. He said it's fine if they're on it, but they just can't dance.
Now we finally
So-
know why Carson Beck didn't transfer to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, he wasn't dancing on TikTok.
Didn't one of
Anytime
the
he was on the TikToks, though, he was so awkward. He just like had this big teethy smile, and it was weird. And he looked like that little thing off Ice Age. Oh, he just irritates me so much.
He said on the TikToks, by the way. I just want to point that out.
On the TikToks, on the TikTokies.
All right, MBG, you got some posts for us?
I think I got a few. I do. I try to keep them basketball related since I knew that it was March and would be doing this during the tournament. So I got a few. My first one, I'm watching this North Carolina San Diego State game. Some of these on the rules on this post may apply. San Diego State might wish they applied. It's from a Nebraska board. It says steps on how to improve and save basketball. He's got some real gems on here. So his first one is eliminate the three-pointer, eliminate palming and carrying the ball. They dribbled straight up in the 60s and 70s. Enforce traveling, no more 3 steps, runs for a dunk. Flopping equals an immediate ejection and 15-game suspension. Get rid of the review process. It slows down the game. A team must wear uniform-colored shoes. Get rid of ticky-tack fouls. Refs get suspended for poor officiating scores. Stop superstar bias from the refs. Make hand-checking legal again. Players are taller. Raise the rim like 2 or 3 inches. And then ban load management. That probably applies to the NBA. Don't play, no pay. Any of these, you guys think any of these rules would work? And it looks like San Diego State would prefer the no three-pointer rule.
Well, I think they should have added some more. I think just
Completely to improve
Go ahead.
it, completely change it.
I was thinking like
Completely
bring back the peach basket, maybe. All shots have to be set shots. Just those, those like 1950s, like black and white videos of like college basketball where it's just like it literally looks like a different game.
You should be able to, if somebody does something to you, you should be able to punch them in the face.
Well, I mean, he's saying that no ticky-tack fouls. He says no, get rid of ticky-tack fouls.
You should be able to punch
hand check.
somebody if they fuck you up.
hand check is basically that.
I like the raise the rim 2 or 3 inches because you know what I'd love to see more of? Layups.
Oh,
I freaking love it. I love a good layup, man.
A breakaway
Good
layup.
shots.
Is there anything better?
Oh my God, that's the best.
Nothing brings the house down like that finger roll at the rim. Oh.
I mean,
Yeah,
they could
I
even like for the All-Star game, they could have like a layup contest instead of a dunk contest. Just kind of a.
I would slap.
It would.
Lots of running the picket fence on offense.
Yeah. They also need to bring back more 8-foot jumpers. That's another thing that I don't get enough of.
Yeah.
You
Oh
didn't
yeah.
say
The
anything about
mid-range
the
game.
shot clock. We need to get rid of the shot clock so we can start having 4-2 games again.
Yeah, I agree. Those are great, great rules.
Good job.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like young people have never seen one of those like old ACC games, Casey, because it was Dean that used to do that, right? Wasn't it Dean Smith?
Oh, it was awful.
Do the 4 corners and they would just hold the ball forever. That was the
It was
worst.
The worst.
Those games sucked.
16-12.
Right? Bring it
Oh,
back.
the good old days. Yeah, because you talk about that Villanova Georgetown final in '85. There was no 3-pointers then either. What was the final score? It seemed like it was like 55, 52 or something like that.
Something like that. Yep.
That's exactly what we need. More of that.
You're talking to a Tony Bennett lover. He's
Right.
That's who's just like, yeah, duh.
Like I'm nodding along, not realizing you're being sarcastic.
All right, Courtney, this one's for you.
Okay.
This is from an Auburn board. My man AU 890886. And his title says, Bama Athletic Director, make Auburn play two teams that have beat them, bad matchups, Louisville in Kentucky, and a team with our point guard last year on it. Rig job, completely effed Houston. Those teams will beat each other up in the same bracket, letting Bama and Duke to a game decided by ref influence. Winner takes on a well-rested UF. So it looks like he believes Greg Byrne, is that you say his last name? Greg Byrne had some say in Auburn's seed and their matchup. It's all a big conspiracy.
It is my favorite when they think that like our university revolves around what they do, like it does for them with us, because it doesn't at all. Like I'm sure Greg Byrne couldn't give a fuck less what they do. But the best part of this to me is they're like, winner takes on a well-rested Florida. Like we want to fucking do that? Like we want to take on Florida again? We just got our ass whooped by like 30 points. We don't want to see them again.
Listen, I don't want to hear any whining from Auburn because they didn't get stuck playing a 16 seed that should have been a 15 seed like we did. So, they're playing a 16 seed that came from the playing game. So, but it makes me laugh though that they've talked. Some of their fans have talked a lot of shit. And then all of a sudden the games haven't even started and they're already complaining about how they're getting screwed. So
it's
like
all
I've
the
said many times, give me all the salty tears.
It does raise a bigger question that got brought up this week, and that is the propriety of having athletic directors on the selection committee. For example, North Carolina's athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, was the director, the chairperson, of the
He
selection.
wasn't in the room, MBG.
He wasn't in the room.
Not in the room.
Well, he was on the committee when they got left out. Was it not last year, like 2 years ago when they got left out?
Mhm.
So
Was he?
Y'all have me defending UNC. I'm all fucked up this season.
But my point is okay, he leaves the room and he comes back in and you've been sitting with him for hours and days at a time. You can say, oh yeah, sorry, bud, we decided your team's out. No.
Exactly.
And I know Greg Byrne didn't do that to Auburn. I know that. But it does make me – I did see some tweets, some ideas of having bracketologists or journalists do the selection committee as opposed to athletic director. I'm not sure that would work any better.
Oh, I think that'd be worse.
Like people are really worked up about, I guess West Virginia was in, there were like 111 brackets that like bracketologists had done, and they were in on every one of those 111. I think UNC was in on like 29 of them or something. I saw that tweeted a bunch of times. So, and I know like didn't West Virginia's like governor get involved at some point? I think he had like a press conference or something. Oh, he's suing.
Oh yeah.
I may have picked the wrong West Virginia Genius of the Week.
I was just going to say. There you go.
Can you imagine if someone went in and got an injunction to stop the tournament, like delay the tournament so a judge could hear whether or not they deserve to be in over Team X?
You'd be the most hated school in the country. I mean,
I have no idea what an injunction is.
It means make them stop playing until a judge decides if West Virginia should be in over North Carolina. So you essentially delay the tournament. It would never happen, but I think it would be hilarious if someone tried.
That would be.
All right. We'll stay in the ACC. We'll go to Kentucky. So Kentucky's a 3 seed, right? I think they lost to Alabama in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament, but they still got a 3 seed. But after that game, Kentucky fans were a little bit upset. And, for example, there was this fella, Baraback. He said, look no further than Greg Sankey. He has orchestrated the demise of Kentucky basketball. And then this guy, NBC82584, said Bruce Pearl would have had us number one, and we didn't talk to him. He basically begged for the job. I love Mark Pope, but hiring a coach who has never won an NCAA tournament game versus hiring a proven Final Four guy foaming at the month. I think he meant mouth. Foaming at the mouth for validation is insane. Still going to ride Pope, but he was the higher in 10 years. Pearl was the guy we should have got today. Poor Kentucky. They got stuck with that third seed. Greg Sankey's trying to bring them down, and they should have just hired Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, I totally agree that Greg
That makes
Sankey's
sense.
trying to tank his own conference.
Right.
Idiots.
I did see a
Actually,
response in here.
People are just stupid as shit.
Saw a response in here that said the Bama Deep State has tendrils that reach all sports, which I thought was hilarious.
It's been amazing.
Go ahead.
It's been amazing to me how many message board posts I've seen and tweets I've seen of people saying they should have hired Bruce Pearl or they need to just go hire Bruce Pearl. That's who everybody either wanted to have hired or wants to hire. But I'm not sure Bruce Pearl's leaving Auburn. Maybe it might be like one or two jobs that would get him out of Auburn. And
Well, that
I
was
guess
my
I'm-
question. Do you think he would have gone to Kentucky if he got offered that job? Because that is a premier job, but the program's in worse shape than Auburn is right now.
yeah, I guess it would depends on when they would. If they offered it to him last year, I wouldn't think so. I mean, he had
I
things
think so
rolling
too.
at Auburn. I don't think they would have got him. Maybe 3 years ago.
Right.
You guys don't understand. Of course he would have gone now that he didn't take it.
I saw some tweets today about some Iowa fans saying they need to go hire Bruce Pearl.
Done.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Lock it in.
Bruce Pearl in Auburn. I just saw a tweet. It's like from 4 hours ago. It's called Number One Auburn Anonymous, and they're like a podcast. And it says if Auburn doesn't make it to the Sweet 16, we will never record a podcast again. That's how confident we are. So,
Wow.
I love to see these take place. So I am just hoping that they don't make it just because of that. I mean, I'm sure they're nice people, but I like to see people.
Don't be
What is that
starting
song?
a podcast war. We don't want a
Yeah.
podcast war with somebody, Courtney.
Pump
No,
up our
I'm
numbers.
all about it. I'm all about fighting. No, I'm sure they're great people. It's like the guy that said, I'll stick a burrito up my ass or I'll eat the dog shit out of a Solo cup. The burrito guy did it.
I mean, I think there's levels here, and I'm not quite sure if this rises to the same, but I mean, I get your point.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
but it's still allowing something.
Putting your podcast is not going to put you in the ICU potentially. So.
Yeah.
I
You're
did
not chopping your
burrito up the
manhood
ass,
off.
though, so kudos to the burrito up the ass guy.
That was not on my bingo card for Courtney's return to the show tonight.
Did
Never
we ever talk
know.
about the video of that, by the way? Because I mean, I know he posted a video, but that was some bullshit. Like he just had it clenched in his butt cheeks. I think. I just want to go on record as saying I don't think that
Was
got
that-
fulfilled.
Was that the Kansas State guy?
I think
But
so. Yeah.
The best part is that he did a lead up.
Yeah, he did.
Like
he froze it,
put
which I thought was
he
smart.
froze it, and then he did it in steps. I mean, he did it right. He did.
I
Yeah,
love
well-
Taco Bell, but I'm not sure I would have eaten it after I clenched it between my butt cheeks.
There's no. I'm
that's-
not sure. I would
expecting to hear.
definitely not have.
Isn't there a South Park episode about that?
I hope so.
There always
Base.
is.
They stick it up the rear and it comes out the mouth. Am I wrong?
Oh my god!
Oh God.
It's-
What's the next
it's
post,
I think you're
MBG?
talking about another video.
Yeah,
No,
they had
that's
some
not
kind of
South
human
Park.
centipede thing going on. Is that what you're telling me?
That was
Something.
the most fucked up movie, by the way, that I've ever seen ever.
All right. So, how about TCU? Am I right, guys?
This is taking a turn.
We're
Wait,
great
my
with
bad.
segues.
That's
So
my bad.
TCU, they finished ninth in the Big 12, 16-16. Obviously, didn't make the tournament. fans not happy with Jamie Dixon. They don't want to fire Jamie Dixon, but this fan, Hell Sent Frog, he wants to put some stipulations on Jamie Dixon. It says, Jamie Dixon needs to be put on a quota regarding the recruitment of white players. In 10 years, the closest Dixon has come to taking a white guy was Fabriello, who is Argentinian. I've noticed that white guys who play for the other teams are highly motivated against the Horned Frogs. It's because they are aware of Dixon's continued racially biased rosters. I have also noticed that opponents with white players are Dixon's kryptonite. I suggest 2 of 13 scholarship players should be white guys. So
This sounds like the same dude that posted on the Nebraska board a minute ago.
Right.
Literally, all I can think of is that sign, the wine sign that says "Exciting Whites."
Right. Right.
I mean,
I just-
maybe Duke and they
I
could
like
work
the
out some
idea.
deals.
Yeah, I like the idea of opposing teams, like the white guys huddling up in the locker room, like getting all fired up. Yeah, we're gonna stick it to Jamie Dixon today.
Recruit me.
We'll show him. Everybody afraid to talk about this one? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, completely.
No, I mean that's literally all I had to say was the "Exciting Whites."
Well, 2
Casey-
kids from my high school went to Pitt to play for him, and yep, this post tracks.
Casey, I specifically put this in there so you could just start to reel off old Duke players like Cherokee Parks or something.
Christian Leitner would like a word.
Marty Clark,
Quinn
keep going?
Snyder.
Yes.
Chris Collins.
Corey Snyder. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I mean,
who else? Wojo.
I've never paid close enough attention to TCU's roster, and so I guess I need to do that going forward. Maybe
Can
find,
just going back
find
to
some
the
white
Duke
kids to
thing.
send that way.
Going back to the Duke thing, you realize that we could spend like 15 minutes just naming Plumleys, right? If we wanted
Kyle
to do that.
Singler.
All right, everyone's afraid to touch this one. So
Yep.
Yeah.
this is my favorite
I-
post we're doing.
I really just thought I was setting Casey up. I thought we were just going to hear ACC white guys and Duke white guys for about 10 minutes, and then we'll just
Adam
move on.
Morrison.
Never heard Casey that quiet ever.
No, me either. Me either.
Jerry
right.
McNamara.
All
Sorry,
right,
I'm
so
going to ACC.
we'll finish this off with a post from Miami. We'll leave the basketball world since nobody dares talk about it anymore. And we'll talk about Miami. Courtney touched on this in her Genius of the Week. She set it up perfectly about Carson Beck and his breakup with one of the Kavner twins. And the Miami fans were really worried about this and how it's going to affect him. So this was just one of many posts by Simply Canes. He said, "This is a pivotal moment in his career as a Miami Hurricane. Does he just go for her twin sister, which is something someone from Georgia would do, or does he fully embrace his new culture and upgrade to a Latina? Make the right decision, Carson." But he does not say what the right decision
Yeah.
is.
I don't know.
I know what it is.
I'm guessing it's not date the twin sister because he says, well,
It's
that's something
transfer.
someone from Georgia would do.
Not to West Virginia, though, because he can't dance.
Yeah, I can't do his TikToks.
Well, you know the thing. What's funny about what someone from Georgia would do? You know where Carson Beck is from, right? He's from
He's from
Florida.
like Jacksonville. Yeah.
Listen, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would want a quarterback who's got enough irrational confidence to go after his ex's twin. I mean, that's a baller move if you're a quarterback, but I don't see that working out very well for Carson here.
He isn't a boyfriend, right? The twin.
I mean, if you're going to go for your ex's twin, the least of your concerns is whether or not she has a boyfriend.
You're probably right.
That's true. You're not doing research on that one. Right?
You're already going way out there You're not turning back. You're not being deterred by the fact that she might have a boyfriend. I mean, that's just my guess.
He should just go Zach Wilson. Just go after the mom.
Yeah,
Right.
Evan said that she dates a cowboy. Yeah, I thought she was dating an athlete.
Like
The
a
sister.
horse rider or like
No,
Dak
no, no,
Prescott's
like-
teammate?
A Dallas Cowboy.
Yes.
Or like a rodeo cow. Oh, okay.
No.
That
Would have
sounds
been much
cool.
better if it was like a rodeo cowboy, I think.
So much better.
Jake from State Farm? Jake Ferguson, huh? All right. Yeah, never heard of her.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do y'all think he should do here?
Well,
Transfer.
I mean,
Right.
this appears to be a rhetorical question, in that
Oh,
he obviously has to upgrade to a Latina.
Is that another part that we're afraid to talk about? Because there was one
No.
really funny. There was a funny response.
no,
Yeah.
we're not afraid to talk about it. It is what it is. It was, yeah, go
The
ahead.
most liked response to this was, Carson, go ahead and cheat on a Latina. You'll be gambling with your life, which I thought
Facts. Big facts.
That was perfect.
Yeah, maybe Latinas aren't for him either. Maybe he needs to probably transfer somewhere in the Midwest, maybe Nebraska,
a
Oklahoma, something
Latina
like that.
woman eat
Iowa.
Actually, I
Yeah.
want to see it now. Like, go, please, Carson, go date a Latina. Please, please.
I just the amount of drama that he's been involved in already since he got to Miami. I am hoping that this is going to be a very fruitful board for us this year, MBG.
We'll love that.
Oh,
I have a
the
feeling
first
it will be.
the first interception that kid throws is going to be blamed on him not being in the playbook over the summer, but breaking up with his
Oh, yeah.
girlfriend and getting his Lamborghini stolen. 100%.
Being
I'll
out on a
call
boat.
my
just doing something.
I'll call my shot right now.
I
First
am here for
interception.
it.
Maybe even it might not even take an interception. It might take them going 3 and out on the first drive.
I love it.
And
Can't wait.
that's what it'll get. That dude is in
That'll
no
be,
position.
yeah, you could have that as one of your hot takes before the season. I like that one.
I'm not even sure that's a hot take.
I was about to say, this is not even a hot take.
Well, use the word hot loosely. You know,
Yeah.
not everyone has the hottest of takes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, boys and girls, that's all I brought.
All
So
right.
unless you got
Appreciate
something else
y'all.
to add.
I got nothing.
I got nothing. Thanks so much.
Surprisingly, I
everybody
have
joining
nothing.
us.
Thanks for
But you
tuning in.
brought
y'all.
so much, Courtney.
All the time. I give it my
All
son.
right, that'll do it for
every
this
day.
week's episode, the MBG podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review. You can check out more content at messageboardgeniuses.com. And we'll see you next time, losers.